All right, let's bring out the consensus ranked wide receivers last year going into the season 2025. So this was at the beginning of the season. They saw Jamar Chase number one, CD, Justin Jefferson. This is how they had them ranked. Let's see how they finished. So here's the finish. So it looks like we had Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, St. Brown, and Puka Nakua finish in the top 10, and the rest of them fell out of the top 10. So 40% accurate in the first 10 picks. And every year it's like that. So for the wide receivers and most positions. So 40% accuracy at that. And you see that you can be off in those wide receivers. All right, let's reverse that around and I'll bring them out. And this is how they finished last year, the top wide receivers. And you can see here, how I have them in order. And here is that consensus ranking going in. You can see it from a different angle, but boy, JSN here at number 2 was 14th, and 21 for Pickens here, and Chris Olave and Zay Flowers, some good bargains there. And Michael Wilson, even he snuck into he was the number 10. Look at that, 99th, wasn't even ranked going in. We got another one over here too. Wandale wasn't ranked going in last year. So I was fortunate here. My wide receivers, I did running back strong, and I pretty well suggest that again this year. But I got lucky and got J-Mo and Devontae Williams, my top two receivers, and got nothing, paid nothing for them. So you can see here, and here is their current rankings. Well, they're not too straying too far on these top four. They're pretty well where they finished last year. And we can see that didn't work last year. And Chris Olave, Zay Flowers, they're not so high on. And look at my two. Here's the three. I like these three guys next year. All right, look at they finished good, and they're bringing them down. Maybe even Sutton too. I did a video on these guys, but anyway, they could be off on those top wide receivers rankings consensus before the season starts. I know you're asking about the running backs, so let's go ahead and bring out the running back to see how the consensus rankings did against them. Here's the finish. You got them all lined up here and how they finished last year. Well, here's the consensus rankings. Right? They did a lot better at running back than they did wide receiver. Right? We'll pick out the two that didn't. The top 10, only 3 didn't make it. Right? So you're a lot. Look at all the others were in the top 10, and these just outside the top 10 of the other 3 that they had ranked. So they did very good ranking the running backs last year versus the wide receivers. And fortunately for me, I went running back heavy last year, and look at those. Those are the 3 3 running backs I had to go, and that's why I won my league. But it's almost like setting up that running backs might be the way to go because, hey, we can accurately more pick them, at least last year, than the wide receivers. Well, on these, you might not be asking, but I'm bringing out the quarterbacks anyway. Let's see how they did. Here's how they finished. All right, here's how the quarterbacks finished. Let's see how the consensus had them ranked. Well, not pictured as Lamar Jackson, the first one, but Josh Allen they got right? And looks like Dak and Bo Nix and Jalen Hurts. So it looks like 40% accuracy on quarterbacks, not so good, right? And if you look in here, well, look at these guys that 4 or 5 that finished 2nd through 5th here. They came from nowhere. Drake May was the 14th ranked going in. Stafford, boy, you can just wait in here. In fact, I was lucky enough to get Caleb Williams there in 18th, and Jackson Dart. I mean, those are the 2 quarterbacks I had to help me win. So you can see sometimes, like I said in the my quarterbacks. If you haven't seen that, go look at that quarterback when to take a quarterback video. A matter of fact, while we're here, if you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe or give me a like if you haven't liked, or give me a like. It really helps, gives me the energy to do these shows. So what I'm saying here is we might as well wait and skate on the quarterbacks, like we said. Well, let's check out tight ends. Let's bring out those tight ends here. Here they are by how they finished last year. See, Trey McBride was the leader here. Kyle Pitts in there. Travis Kelce, 3rd, still hanging in there. Right? Well, here's how the consensus saw it last year. It looks like Trey McBride was correct to Travis Kelce and Warren. But other than that, that's the Brock Bowers is outside the top 10 here. So they were 30% accurate at tight end. Right? Not too good there at tight end either. You get Harold Fanning coming out of nowhere. Kyle Pitts was 17th. Warren, the top tight end picks, hey, yeah, you did get 11th, but I bet you didn't feel too good about that. So tight ends, not too good. All right, in our fantasy AI recap, we're going to see the quarterbacks 40% accurate, the consensus ranking them for the top 10 preseason, and wide receiver 40% accurate. So the consensus come in 40%. Tight ends, they were 30%. So it's hard picking those top. And you can see here running back, obviously 70% accurate from the consensus rankings last year. So why not lean running back? They were the most accurate picking, right? So play it safe, right? Get that running back one in the first round. It just sounds safe. I mean, yes, Amon St. Brown seems safe and been there the last 3 years, but when I'm filling out my snake draft video here, I'm going to do the next couple videos, don't be surprised if I'm running back heavy in that first round, because hey, we're going to go running back heavy because hey, it's the easiest, the most accurate. We want to be accurate and safe in that pick, right? Let's take a look at this.